And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of From Pillar to Post. I know these episodes here have been sporadic because of my job schedule. Ladies and gentlemen, I am a truck driver. As you can tell by my YouTube channel, there's a lot of on-the-road stuff happening, a lot of crazy stuff happening. But I'm home today on this lovely October 2nd Friday, and I am speaking with Andrew. I'm going to get your last name wrong, I bet. Is it Vendelis?
No, you nailed it. You're
there we
one
go.
of the few people who actually got it right.
See, I could pronounce
Wow.
I could pronounce those Yankee names pretty damn well.
Oh, it's not even Yankee, dude. It's Greek.
Greek? Yeah, well,
It's even harder.
You have a lot of Greeks and Italians up that way, so.
Yeah, Baltimore's a big home for it.
Actually, you say Baltimore. I'm used to it being pronounced. If you're from Baltimore, you got to pronounce it Baltimore.
Oh, yeah, Baltimore. Yeah, no, my bad. My accent isn't that heavy compared to some people I know.
Well, I mean, it's just like Craig Ferguson one time. I said this on another video recently. I was out in Colorado for my job. And Craig Ferguson, when he was doing the Late Show, he would take tweets and emails. And one time he took a email from somebody out there in Laramie, Wyoming, and he's like, when you're out there in Laramie, when you get to that part of the country, you don't say you're from there, you're out of there. So,
oh my God.
So let me get a little bit of background here, because I got to be honest with you folks. I wanted to get Jason on here, but Jason said, no, just get my commentator on. And we were supposed to do the interview yesterday, but that kind of fell through. That was on my end. But
we're here.
Yeah, we're here now. Give us a little bit of a background of how you got started in pro wrestling in general. When did you become a fan? The usual starter question, if you will. When did you become a fan? How did you get into it?
Sure, I got you. So I'm only 22, but I started getting into wrestling when I was around 7 years old. I remember at the height of it was honestly Mania 20, Mania 21 with Eddie Guerrero and Angle. You had Batista, Triple H the following year, John Cena before he got booed out of every single building. So right around that time was when I got into it, and I was on and off for a little bit, and then the pipe bomb, as everyone knows who's my age, the pipe bomb got a lot of people back into pro wrestling, and I was one of those people who became a big CM Punk fan and, a big WWE fan once again, and I've been a fan ever since. And then I got connected with American Lucha Wrestling in 2019. I studied at Elon for 4 years, and my junior year, I had to do a project for one of my journalism classes, and I pitched the idea of a local wrestling company to cover them and see what they're up to. And my professor loved it. I got the green light. So I went and I hit up Jason from ALW, and I talked to him and Andrew at the time, who was also involved. And I ended up doing a feature story on Teddy Ireland Jr., who, as you know, and any of you guys know, in the North Carolina area, whether for ALW, CWF, or whatever. And I got to do a feature story on him, and then I kind of slipped in there, hey, I do commentary for sports and stuff. And I also am a music production major, so I make wrestling themes. And now I work with a new company, ECCW, doing wrestling themes while also doing play-by-play for ALW. So that is how I got involved in the scene.
Being from Baltimore, did you ever go to any MCW shows up there in Joppa?
No, but I didn't find out that they ran 10 minutes from my house until a few years ago. So I have not had the chance to get to an MCW show, but hopefully once COVID's over, I can, catch one.
Yeah, their shows are pretty much at this point legendary. It's if you're in the northern part of the
Shamrock Cup.
Yeah. They've
had a lot of NXT guys, a lot of PWG guys going through. I think Ciampa, O'Reilly, Adam Cole were all there. Obviously, Velveteen Dream, Leo Rush, big MCW products. But I missed it, I guess, and that sucked.
One of the things that we were talking about before we came on air that you missed is CWF, and Jason's probably going to correct me on this, but I always kind of look at American Lucha Wrestling being a kind of a I won't say spin-off, But it's kind of like a, you know, to me, I always see it as CWF was a springboard for the idea. And you said that you guys, you know, you didn't have a chance to, you know, even go into college right there at Elon University, which is a hop, skip, and a jump from the Mid-Atlantic Sportatorium, which no longer exists.
Yeah.
You know, you said that you really didn't have a chance to go to any of their shows. Was it just because you didn't know about them, or just did not, you know?
So in that same project, I had reached out to CWF, and I just kind of got no response. And American Lucha Wrestling hopped on it quicker, and there's that. Well, as far as ALW being, like, as you said, for lack of a better word, a spinoff or a 2.0 of CWF, no offense to them, there's hardly a CWF 1.0 around anymore.
Well, there's not.
And that was never a goal.
There's not a CWF around anymore. They closed at the beginning of the year. So
exactly. Point taken there. And I, for one, have always viewed it as American Lucha Wrestling being its own thing, existing within North Carolina and the Mid-Atlantic, which is already packed. And I think we've done a pretty damn good job at that.
I mean, I can remember when Jason was, you know, first coming up with the idea, because how I met Jason was coming to the CWF shows, and he was doing American Lucha Designs, which I guess he still does.
He had the logo.
Yep. He you know, he was making T-shirts for all the guys in CWF. Kane Justice. You know, all these guys had T-shirts, and they, you know, and then I guess the idea kind of morphed out of working with CWF in that point. But I can remember Jason telling me that when he was trying to work with CWF a little bit, that one of the higher ups there, which will remain nameless, pretty much said, "What are you trying to do? Put me out of business." And I think that's kind of the mentality that kind of ran CWF out of business, was that they didn't want to work with others. You know, I said this before on a podcast that I did with some friends of mine recently, that CWF to their higher ups and to their management was always kind of like what World Class was to Fritz von Erich. Texas is big enough for my boys, so why would I want to expand? I mean, they were on the hay, and right before you got in touch with Jason and ALW, they were peaking, man. They had the potential to become probably one of the top independents in the world. And it just crumbled.
Thing I got the chance to do with CWF beyond that was when I was filming Teddy, and, you know, I needed footage of him wrestling because it was a video package. And I got to go to the CWF arena, which was really cool. And the way things were run and set up there, and seeing that was really cool. And one thing I give credit to CWF for is, like, you know, they've made their mark in the Mid-Atlantic. And, you know, even though they're not around anymore, that is something that at least ALW can build upon. We do not have to copy it. We don't need to whatever. But I think when you talk about this land is only big enough for me and my boys, and we don't want to expand it, I think when you're on the independent wrestling level, and granted, I've only been doing this for a little bit, so my opinion might only mean shit. Pardon my French.
No, you're fine. Go ahead.
But I think, you know, it's like I'm a musician. I'm in a band. I don't go and shit on the other bands that are playing the same gigs as me. What I want to do is get on the same bill as them so we both can make money.
That's
I
right.
think pro wrestling should be no different. On the independent scene, at least. You know, monopolies and all that, blah, blah, blah. Credit to AEW. Love what they're doing. Love WWE as well. I think this is the best time to be in pro wrestling right now since the Attitude Era in terms of the amount of it out there, the quantity and the amount of talent. So why would you want to undercut that rather than help yourself out?
I want to talk to you a little bit about let's shift focus now to ALW.
Let's do it.
How long I mean, they ran a couple of shows, I remember, in 2018, and then 2019 I phased out of indie wrestling altogether. I'll put it to you this way. I have not been to a independent wrestling event, period, since January of 2019. And
oh, wow.
And there's a reason.
Mine was in December 2018, so I feel you. Well, before the ALW stuff.
Well, I mean, and there's a reason for it. It's just I can't stand. No offense, but I can't stand my fellow wrestling fans anymore. I can't stand the.
That's fair.
I can't.
Fair, man.
I can't stand the over-the-top stupid chants. I can't stand the singing of the songs. I can't stand.
I can't.
You know.
And I agree. 1,000%.
And it just turns me off so bad when I see wrestlers. It makes me look and go, "Who's the marks here?" They should be paying to.
Yeah.
They should be paying to enter a ring and just watch us sing, and to pay us to sit in the seats and sing stupid stuff. That's what it's become.
We're not acquired.
Yeah, you know. So.
I'm all for enthusiasm, though.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, the UK fans, they are my biggest pet peeve is those UK fans who come and sing and do stupid stuff.
Really?
And it's like, you know, you go to a soccer match or watch a soccer match on TV. Nobody's watching the fucking game in the stands. They're all
pissed drunk too, though.
Exactly.
At those, ICW shows and stuff. I bet it's a fun time, though, man.
I mean,
you gotta give them that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't drink. I mean, but there's something.
Fair enough.
But the thing is that, you know, if I go to a football game, I go there to watch the game, not to sit there and have to worry about if I'm going to get puked on by somebody or a beer spilled on me.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I mean, I think, but let's wrap it back around to ALW is that, you know, I get the sense from the couple matches that I've seen and the product that I have seen that it's kind of, it's got that old school flair to it with that new school, you know, it's new school and old school mixed together. You know, you got a guy in there like Kane Justice, and I don't know how much you guys have used him, but I always
haven't seen him in a while, but we're always welcome to having him. I haven't had a chance to call his matches, but I've watched some of the tape from the early ALW stuff, and that man's got a hell of a lot of talent.
He does, and I haven't heard from him in forever. I want to try to get him on the show here and see about, you know, what he's been doing. But that guy, I always said, that guy right there had the potential to be, if I was booking him, that's my Kurt Angle. That's the guy that, if there was ever a guy to hot shot.
I'll lay it out for you, ALW in 2020, because I think you hit the nail on the head when you said not necessarily overkill old school style, but that old school flair of, here's the thing, we have good guys, we have bad guys, but our good guys, like Chris TNT Taylor, are real. Chris TNT Taylor is trying to defend his World Heavyweight Championship on every show to put food on his family and his daughter's table. The same I can say for Teddy Ireland Jr., who grew up fighting in the parking lots behind Walmart. And then you have our bad guy who you don't believe in, maybe because they're scary, maybe because they're larger than life, but you believe that they're crazy. You believe that they can kick your ass. A Lee Valiant who's out there just trying to take names and beating people up before and after matches. You have BK Westbrook, our Lucha X champion. I don't know if you've gotten to see any of BK stuff. I had a podcast with him yesterday for the ALW YouTube channel, and that man is one of the most talented people I have seen in this promotion in the ring. But God, he chirps at the audience. He chirps at his opponent. You can't stand him, not because he has a gimmick, but because he's an asshole, you know? We try to make it believable. That's where the modern feel comes in. But, of course, we have bad guys and good guys.
I want to mention to everybody right now that, let me pull it up here to make sure I have it right. Again, I had everything prepared for this interview, and then I had to restart the computer within 5 minutes of calling Andrew here.
It's all good, man.
They do have an event coming up here. I got the message from Jason here about this. It is called Shocktober, and it will be held on
October 10th.
October the 10th. Bell times at 7 p.m. Doors open at 6. You can get your tickets right now at alwtickets.ecwid.com. Go to AmericanLuchaWrestling.com for more information as well. General admission, $10. Kids 12 and under, $5. VIP front row, $25. I also noticed that you guys are using, you know, talent like a Snooty Fox, like Chris TNT Taylor. Can you speak a little bit about the booking of this? Because I got to be honest, I know Jason, and me and Jason, you know, have talked a lot about what we think it should be.
Yeah.
We would sit there at the in the stands at CWF. I hate to keep going back to them, but we used to sit there in the stands and go.
No,
We used to sit there in the
memories,
stands and go, "What the fuck are they doing?" Especially there towards the end. Especially towards the end. And hindsight is always 20/20, but it's like.
Yeah.
Me and him used to sit there and go, "What if this happens? And what if this happens?" And he came
I
up
mean,
with
man,
some damn
go
good
back
ideas.
To WCW in like 1998 or 1999, and you see all the shit Russo was doing. And God, I was only an infant then, and if I had the power back then, I'd be like, Jesus, what is he doing with this product? So I get you.
So can you talk?
Some of the wrestlers and the talent they have.
And see these questions I'm going to be probably asking are probably better suited for Jason. But can you talk a little bit about the booking, about what his style of booking is? Is it like we were mentioning before, that new school in with the old school? Because from what I'm watching and from what I saw, it's very much like that old Mid-Atlantic style.
Mm-hmm. Well, what I can attest to it, and since the lockdown, I've sadly only been able to do commentary remotely. So any booking decision, I'm watching unfold, and I'm judging for myself. But yeah, we've had, as I mentioned, with the good guys and the bad guys, there's always a reason. Right now, our biggest feud that just blew off, I'd say, was Big Money Inc. versus B-Town, which is Snooty Fox, Cool J, Teddy Ireland Jr., and I think Christine T. Taylor as well. Oh no, Aaron Biggs is in that as well. So it's a five-man. It's a faction war. It's just like what the Mid-Atlantic had. It's like when you have the Horsemen. You got a group of guys trying to be on top for different reasons, and that was our biggest storyline, and it culminated in a 2-match series in the street fight, and I think that was our best told story to date. Because I think we were trying to figure it out when we weren't running as many events in 2019. But 2020, I got to give Jason a lot of credit here. He's kept the storytelling. He's kept the booking, foot on the gas pedal the entire time. And I for one, have had no real comments or criticisms about it.
I have to ask. I don't know if he let you.
And Jason would know if I did.
Right. I don't know if he let you in on any of the goings on, seeing as how you're not actually there at the shows due to COVID. I'm assuming everybody's got to wear a mask, and we're doing the social distancing thing and all that junk, right?
Yeah, and I think some recent shows they did some papers as well. Just being like, just making sure they're cool, and everyone does have to wear a mask if you're not in the ring. Yeah, and I think the Lucha Dome is a good venue now. So we have a permanent venue that, we can clean after every show and we can sanitize. So we don't have to worry about a dirty ring or dirty seats or anything like that because it's our new building.
I haven't even seen it. I know the address is
I haven't been inside of it, but, you can get a look at it. We have it on our YouTube channel. And if I can kind of plug something here, we just got on IWTV as well.
Yeah,
so you can sign up for that.
I was looking at that on your Facebook page. The Independent Wrestling TV, You're getting ready to premiere on that, and that's a big deal.
Oh, we already have 2 shows up, my man.
Nice. That's a big deal. So everybody go ahead and go over there and sign up for that. Check out American Lucha Wrestling on the Independent Wrestling TV. According to Jason,
promo code American Lucha.
What Jason has told me, and now this is just tentative, he's got shows coming up October 10th and the 24th, so that's for October. Again, with COVID and everything like that, it's all subject to change nowadays. Yeah. How, when you can come back, are you going to be coming down every other week, or are you going to stay up in Maryland and continue to do this remotely, or?
So my plan is to move to Tennessee, which is probably equidistant to North Carolina as it would be from Maryland. But when I have the chance, I'm going to try to make every show I can once COVID is over. But, for the foreseeable future, while I'm not there, I can still get this done remotely. And I think I've been able to deliver better than I could, in person. And that's a luxury I have. Thankfully, Jason gave me that luxury to do it. But my plan is to eventually, make it back down regardless of where I am, I think. And, because I do like seeing everybody in the roster. Yeah, I like going backstage. I like asking, certain wrestlers, like, what do they want to hear from me during this match? Because I get that immediate feedback, So it's always a little different when you do it remotely.
I want to ask why Tennessee, because I've been there, I've been through there, I've stayed there many
why
times.
Tennessee?
It's like, why Tennessee? I mean, I get the sense that you're not a country act, so if you're trying to further your music career, that's, you know.
Oh yeah. I'm also working on, like, I mentioned I do music with the band and stuff, and I also produce as well. So I'm trying to further my career in Nashville a little bit. So once, hopefully everything gets a little more stabilized in the next coming months, if we're all smart and wearing masks and stuff, I can get down to Nashville. So that's pretty much why, for music and stuff as well.
You mentioned the new building. How long ago have they had this building? Did they just acquire it? Where is it? Is it like an old gym? Is it an old, is it in a strip mall like the Sportatorium was?
So from what I know is that we got this building over the summer, and I'm trying to figure out exactly where it is, because right now it's just listed as Lucha Dome. But it's in Burlington. I know that. I'm trying to find it right now as I talk.
Yeah,
but,
I mean, if you just do a Google search for American Lucha Wrestling, it comes up as the American Lucha
really?
Wrestling.
It does now?
Yeah, it comes up as American Lucha Wrestling Lucha Dome, and you try to do like an outside view of it, and all you can really see is like a Goodyear tire factory, and
there's a logo on top of the building now. I'll try to send you over some pictures, maybe. So I don't know if you're doing video or anything. Maybe you can put it up.
No, I mean,
but,
I can always insert pictures, but like the only thing I see, only thing I see when I do like the Google Street View, which then again, Lord knows when the last time they updated it. I don't see a building. I mean, unless it's like this one building that I'm looking at that sits in front of an Ollie's bargain outlet, but.
That's definitely a question for Jason, more because of me, being back in Maryland because of COVID. But I know it does have ALW and like Lucha Dome on the sign. I believe it's a red sign when you pull into that lot, and it'll tell you where the Lucha Dome is. But from the videos I've seen, we've done a complete facelift to it, repainted it, built a stage, and I think it's come a long way from where we got it personally.
Can you speak a little bit about the production aspect of it? Because production is a big deal to me. If it doesn't look good, if it looks like a bunch of guys with their daddy's 1980s camcorders going around, going, oh, we're gonna film wrestling, production. I've always been more interested in the production aspect, even with WWE. Like the behind-the-scenes stuff, I always like knowing how the sausage is made. Can you speak a little bit about the production, how many of the crew that they have, all that good stuff?
Yeah. I can speak on that because I have had the chance to work shows in the past, and I've gotten involved on the production as well. And as I mentioned, being in person is always a huge advantage. And I had a chance to, bring some of the equipment I got to rent from Elon, and, some good high-end equipment, and we filmed a couple segments. We filmed a beatdown angle. We filmed a few promos. Someone jacked the car. John Evans jacked the car and, poked Chris TNT Taylor in the eye with it. And that's always really cool. And I like that because since I've been involved, I've gotten to, dip my finger in a little bit. And one thing I'm trying to get through right now is kind of like some NWA style interviews, but, over Zoom, and maybe not call them a podcast episode, but see if maybe I can get in touch with like a couple wrestlers and, try to get them over when they're not in the ring through this and do anything I can in the meantime.
Yeah. I mean,
but I think ALW's done a great job so far with what we've had. Granted, we're only a year in, so our resources aren't like, top notch. But I think we have a crew that's dedicated to making sure this looks good. And I've seen the comments in our YouTube where they have given us criticism or critiques, and we've been very quick to fix it, I'd say.
Can you speak a little bit about the women's division? I see here that you guys have Selena Rose. I've seen Ella Envy.
Yeah, she's our champion.
How I found out that ALW was even running again was Natalina Corvino posted it on her Facebook page, and I knew.
Yeah, she was at her show Get Wrecked.
I know her from I think it was Pure Pro Wrestling, who is Jimmy Love. It's his promotion that he runs out of Pelham, North Carolina. I have not been to a show of his in ages. I don't even know if he still runs. But she's from...
We had a couple talent from Puro appear on their last show. I'm not sure who else, but I know Corvino was one of them.
And she's been trying for a few years now. She's really come a long way. Where I first saw her was she was working security for Pure Pro. And if anybody's
really?
She was dressing in like a really punk schoolgirl outfit, doing security around the ring for Pure Pro.
Oh, well, I got to tell you, man, she's the number one contender for Selena Rose's women's title now. And, you know, our women's division is very fresh. It began in February. We got the title, and Selena Rose and Ella Envy were our two first competitors for the title. Now Selena Rose has it, and on our last show, we had Ella Envy and Natalina Corvino, who was debuting for ALW, and she looked like an absolute beast in the ring. She had David Estacado next to her, managing her for that match. So what I've seen from her, that was the first time I saw her in the ring. But I was very impressed with because she's got a more muscly frame, and she's out there moving and going, and she's quick too, and she's got some power and quickness that I have not seen, at least on the indies, for women's wrestling in the Mid-Atlantic. So to have her in the back pocket of our roster, I think is a steal.
Again, we're sitting here
she's only going to get better.
We're sitting here talking with commentator Andrew Vendelis here from American Lucha Wrestling. You can follow them on Twitter, and they are at American Lucha. That's at American Lucha, and also I'm
at
assuming
Lucha American, I believe.
Oh, sorry. The other one is the other one is Jason Steele. So I thought that was it. Lucha America. Oh well, do not follow Jay. Well, you can follow Jason. I don't think he'll mind it, but it's at Lucha American.
He just won't tweet anything.
He won't tweet anything. But also check them out on YouTube. I'm assuming they could just do a search for American Lucha Wrestling. We'll put a link to it also.
Yep, I believe we're the first to pop up too.
And we could check it out there. Let me see here. The women's division thing always boggles my mind because so many independents in the North Carolina area they never really have a women's division, or they never really had a women's division. You would see like one or two women's matches pop up here and there, but it's nothing like, like what, I mean, is that something that you think that that Jason and the gang are striving for, that they want to have a full-fledged women's division where women can...
Yeah, and I think right now we're just in the process of getting people on board. And, with the limited roster of women we have ready to wrestle right now, I think we're at least trying to showcase what our top three women have. And when I say top three women, I'm, of course, speaking of Selena Rose, Natalina Corvino, Ella Envy. And I think based on the work that they're doing, that alone is going to elevate it.
How is it? I mean, is this your very first job? I know you said you did, entrance themes, but that's, it's in the business, but you're not backstage. You're not I'm assuming you're not knowing about the goings on.
Oh yeah, this is the first, and this was before I got that working for themes too. And that's a completely different ballpark, which I love to do because it's music related. But in terms of first job in wrestling, yeah, this is the first I had. And I was a ring announcer for one show, and then I talked to Jason, and I was like, I could do commentary too, and that's how I got onto that. So yeah, that's pretty much what I've been doing.
If everything goes right, I'm planning on being there on October the 10th. You guys should be too. And again, you can go to American Lucha Wrestling. Let me see here. It's AmericanLuchaWrestling.com. They have their roster up there. These guys that I'm looking at, you see people like a Kane Justice. You see people like Eric Royal. Chris TNT Taylor is your champion.
Yep.
That guy should have had, a bigger push a long time ago in certain feds.
He's told me that himself, and I agree 1,000%.
You look at guys like a Snooty Fox, who came up from the CWF system and just instantly rose to stardom there, and rightfully so. But Cool J is another one that I look at and I think there's a star.
And Cool J's soaring through the ranks in ALW right now.
He, there's a guy who if
he has been on fire in the ring.
I did an after show for CWF Mid Atlantic for at least over a year, pretty much chronicling like the next to last year of that company's life. And Cool J was a guy that consistently, I would say they need to do something better with this guy. Let me ask you. I'm going to go ahead and close up here.
Go ahead.
Do you think that they'll get out of Burlington? Do you think that they'll expand into
ALW?
other states? Yeah, because I would say run Virginia, but Virginia is so tight when it comes to athletic commissions. It's so much easier to run North Carolina because North Carolina doesn't have a commission. They don't collect taxes from you guys. Do you see them branching out anytime soon, or is it we got the building and?
Yeah, one thing I would say is never say never. Obviously, before COVID, we were popping up in Raleigh. We were popping up at the Tamale Fest. We were popping up in other areas of Burlington. We did Greensboro. We ran the Firestar Arena, which was a great show. So I would never say never, but for the most part, we just got this awesome building that we can operate out of, and we have a very good fan base right now that's been coming out to all these recent tapings and these shows. So right now, I wouldn't say there's any rush to, just because we've been doing so well right now, and maybe we can prep getting ourselves at least an online audience out there while we're waiting on expanding outward. But I think it's only onward and upward for ALW, and I'm just happy to be a part of the ride.
We've been speaking with Andrew Vendelis. Andrew, I want to thank you for coming on the show. If you have anything to plug,
thanks for having me.
Not a problem. If you have anything to plug, now's your time. The floor is yours. Go ahead.
Alrighty. As you mentioned before, follow ALW on Twitter at Lucha American. You can follow me on Twitter at Vendelis Tweets, Vendelis Tweets. I mainly tweet about wrestling and football, so if you like that kind of stuff, come on over. I got a band called The Hollow Party. We're really good. We just are finished up recording our new album. Can't really tell you guys much about it, but you can follow us on all social media at The Hollow Party as well. Joe, thank you for having me so much. It's been a blast. And I've definitely learned a thing or two about Mid-Atlantic independent wrestling as well.
Yeah, man. Welcome to it, man. You're from Maryland, so that technically is the Mid-Atlantic, but
yeah, I definitely say Maryland's Mid-Atlantic.
To me, the Mid-Atlantic stops at D.C. Like, to me, it's just like Virginia and Carolina. And
that's fair because the history behind it, But Baltimore's had its fair share of Southern wrestling.
Oh yeah, even once you get into like Richmond, Virginia, Richmond tries so hard to be Washington D.C. It's not even funny. So, I grew up in Richmond.
The more you know, brother.
Yeah, I grew up in Richmond. I grew up in Chester, Virginia, which is like 20 miles south of Richmond. So, it wasn't until I moved down here to Danville and discovered places like Pure Pro and CWF and even AML over there in Winston-Salem that I just learned what real independent wrestling was. But I look forward to seeing you guys at a show here in the near future again, like with my work schedule and everything in the industry that I'm in.
Yeah, man.
We'd
love to have you. I wish I could be there in person to meet you, man. But I've had a great time on this call, dude. October 10th. October. Hope to see y'all at the Lucha Dome in Burlington. ALWtickets.ecwid, I believe. Yep. That's what it was? ECWID.com? I don't remember.
Yes, it is. You're right.
Oh, sweet. Awesome. So get your tickets there. It's on our Facebook page as well. We've got a great roster, I got to say, man. We put up videos on our YouTube every Thursday as well. But if you guys like what you see, again, IWTV as well. I forgot to plug those few things. I had to get those in there, Joe. My bad.
That's okay. You can also...
it's the way of the road, man.
You can also, Jason, how I met Jason was doing T-shirts and stuff. And if you could go to AmericanLuchaWrestling.com, click on their shop. They have a lot of cool-looking designs there for shirts as well.
The TKO shirt is badass. You guys should get that.
The
Teddy Island Jr. shirt.
The ones that I'm seeing right here are only, let me see, view all products. Let me see what they got here.
That might be on Teddy's website, but
It
I know
probably
Jason
is.
had a hand in it.
But yeah, check it out and go to the
Not good.
American Lucha Wrestling YouTube channel. I see that they have you put up an episode of the podcast here a few months back, and is that something you guys are planning on doing?
We got
regularly?
a new one with BK Westbrook coming out in a couple of days.
Okay. And
a good one.
there's also events on there as well. The one that I saw was Big Money Showdown Part 2, was just put up about a day ago. And go check that out, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank Andrew again. Jason, if you're listening to this, you got to come on the show because the majority of the questions I had were for you, brother.
Jason, I tried my best. Hopefully,
you did good. You did good. What I wanted to ask him was what the biggest obstacle from going from, being a fan sitting in those seats to running shows, because
that's a question I asked him a long time ago too. I wish I had the answer, but I interviewed Jason for that story. I never got an answer. So Jason, hop on the podcast. What are you doing, buddy?
I mean, because to me, it's like, he had a little bit of ends with them with the T-shirts and everything, but then he started, doing this. He told me about this while I was going back on the road as a truck driver, and I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Do you know how hard this is? But he seems to be doing pretty well. Andrew, again, thank you for joining us.
And he surrounds himself with a great crew, I gotta say.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does.
We're all working our ass off, and I gotta say to the boys I don't get to see at the shows, and the girls as well who help out, thank you guys for doing this as well. So I don't get to thank you guys in person, so I figured I'd do it here.
Exactly. Andrew, thank you for joining us, my friend. It was awesome.
Thank you, Joe. You have a good one, man.